Okay, this is Kendra's student binder. This is what she takes to class every week and what we use every single day that she works on essentials at home. She uses some part of what is in this binder. It is 1.5 inches, and she decorates the cover, and then I'll just get into what's in here. So she fills this. It's very loose. I just emptied a lot of stuff out of it from last year. She puts a lot of different handouts and things that we use throughout the year in the pocket. So I definitely recommend, I don't know if they make binders without pockets, but I recommend getting a pocket. The very first thing we have is a pencil case. In it, she usually stores a good amount of vocabulary cards. These go with the IEW. Do not worry if right now you are looking at this and you're like, I don't even know what these materials are that we're referencing. We will talk about them in orientation and in class. So right now I'm just showing you how I have it set up for her. So you'll be setting up materials that you don't fully understand, and that's okay. We will explain them later. So she keeps vocabulary cards in there. These are the dry erase markers that she uses when we're doing work at home for copying charts and for doing her analytical task sheet. They are wet erase. They are not dry erase, so you have to have water to remove their ink, which sometimes is a pain, but they are very fine point, which is helpful because a lot of the charts and the blanks that she's filling in are not very big, and she gets frustrated with thicker markers. So I got these on Amazon. That's the brand right there. And we've had these for 2 years now, and they still work great. I haven't had to go back and replenish and get her new ones. Okay. She always keeps, oh, there's a die. That's just, whatever. Don't worry about that. She always keeps a few pens. Usually she's got like 3 to 5 pens in there as it's summer, and I haven't really gone through her stuff, and she probably threw out old pens. There's not a lot right now. But so pens, not pencils, pens, which is important when we get into IEW. Okay, we have a few tabs in her binder. The first one is spelling. There are spelling lists that are optional to use in the back of your EEL guide, which again, we will point out and talk about at orientation. You do not have to use them, but they're there if you want to. So in her binder, I have a spelling tab. She has a charts tab. Behind the charts tab, these are copied from the EEL guide. She has the scope and sequence grammar mastery charts page. That would be page 397 in your EEL guide. So I made her a copy. I didn't take it out of the guide. I made her a copy and put it in there in a page protector. Then every single chart that is in the gear, I have a copy. So like this is chart A. We do charts A and B week 1. She has chart A, and then she has a blank copy. And what I have her doing throughout the week is whatever charts that we are working on that week for essentials, we have different charts each week. Some weeks are reviewing charts. I have her copying that chart. We also have like motions specifically for chart A. I have some puzzles, different ways for her to learn the charts. But this is what I have in her binder. So chart A, blank copy. Chart B, blank copy. First year parents. Week 1 is charts A and B. Those are the charts we talk about week 1. Those are the only 2 charts that I feel like you need to worry about unless you just want to get all the charts in there. I usually send out an email every week before class, and I say, this week we're talking about charts A and B. So then if you read that email, you can look at it, you can make those copies and put them in before class. You don't have to get every single chart in there right now if that's overwhelming, and if just keeping it simple is easier for you. So charts, all these charts, and she copies them. And you can see some of these like small areas, that's where those fine wet erase markers are helpful. Okay, let me make sure I get to the next tab and don't skip it. Okay, so those were all the chart tabs. My next tab that I have in here is tasks. This goes along with the dialectic. This is the grammar portion of Essentials. This starts getting into the dialectic. I have the glossary of abbreviations for the parts of speech right here. That is page 396 in your EEL guide. So that helps her as we're labeling what part of speech each word is in a sentence. Behind that, I have the punctuation and capitalization rules, which is page 459. So that's just a copy of all of the rules that we go over. You can see the rules we do week 1 all the way down through week 17. And then it's just review weeks 18 through 24. And then here I have the analytical task sheet. We use this in class. Almost every single class that we have, we do the analytical task sheet. We diagram with this. We start with parsing the sentence. These are the questions we go through and ask. I have Kendra do this every day that we do Essentials at home. She and I pick a sentence and go through it. And then we do this in class, and I have her bring this to class. It is page 437 in your EEL guide. I actually laminated this, so it's front and back. I laminated this particular sheet because I want it to be sturdier than the page protectors. And I will say, she has used this now for 2 years. There's some slight coloration up there, but I have not had to go through and remake any copies of this. I haven't had to redo this at any point. So the lamination has held up really well. So I recommend having that there. The next tab that I have is editing. I don't have any example in here to show you, but there is an editing portion in the EEL guide. For every single week, there's something that they can edit, and we will go over that at orientation and also point it out at the first few weeks of Essentials. My next tab is IEW. This is the writing portion of Essentials. The first thing I have, I think this is from last year, yes. This was our schedule for IEW, our weekly schedule. So at orientation, we will hand you guys all an updated schedule for this next cycle, cycle 2. I'll also send you an attachment in an email so that you have it, like a PDF version of it, in case you ever need to reprint it or you want multiple copies of that. So behind the IEW tab, first thing I have is her schedule. This is a listening checklist. This is listening to different dress-ups and sentence openers that we use in our writing. At some point, I went through and highlighted whichever ones we'd already talked about in class, so she would know what to listen for. I obviously didn't keep up with it because we went over all of them and I never highlighted all of them. But the point being, in class for review, 2 to 3 students share a paragraph or a paper that they've written, and the students who are listening should be listening for how they use techniques that we've taught in class and that we've gone over in class. And then this way, this helps them remember them, because it's really easy. And I do this all the time, actually. I'm super guilty of being like, I heard an ly adverb, but I don't remember what it was. So hopefully this will help them remember. If nothing else, they'll at least be able to keep track of, like, well, I heard that you used all of these techniques. Then I just have a bunch of blank paper. Not a bunch right now because this was the end of the year and I haven't updated it yet. And that is for writing her rough drafts on, her first drafts. So I need to update that. At the very end, I have a 2-pocket folder. I actually left her stuff in it from last year because it's just really helpful. This is where she puts her finished papers and all the previous drafts and keyword outlines that might be loose leaf, not just written in her IEW or in her, this next year it would be the medieval writing-based lessons, because there are a lot of forms in there for making keyword outlines. But this just keeps track of all that loose leaf paper for her writing. Specifically, she and I use this for what she has written, her drafts, to keep track of. And then on the back page, I kept a few of the handouts in here that I knew we might use again, just so that she has some stuff. But there again, these pockets are just really handy for putting handouts in. Also, If you chose to buy the trivium tables, this is what that chart trivium table looks like. I love it. It is very helpful. I like the big version. It is okay if you did not buy this, because these charts here are also the gray and white charts that are in your EEL guide. But this just seems to be a little easier for her to have this in class during the grammar portion, the EEL portion of class. And she just has it, and she doesn't have to go digging through all of her charts. There again, it's okay though, if that's what you opt to do. And then finally, if you got the Quid et Quo trivium table, I just love this one. It gives you so much more space to write on. If you didn't get it, there is one in your EEL guide, but it is like the length, it's the width of one single piece of paper. So you can see how if you have this, it will be helpful for filling in these blanks because they're so much bigger. Okay, that is our student notebook.